Asia Wilson, the MVP of the WNBA, the greatest player in women's basketball that nobody cares about.
Asia Wilson is not pleased that Caitlin may look into moving to Europe. Asia has already insisted on becoming the face of Nike, and the amount of money Caitlin may get overseas is already driving some tension in the region.
Nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only from fans.
Asia isn't happy because she thinks Caitlin should be the most spoken about and given the most possibilities because she was MVP, but that's not the case. If Caitlin moves abroad, she will become the most paid women's basketball player in the world.
Asia Wilson, 28 years old, 1,000 points in the regular season. Why is that not the biggest story out at the moment? And why are we talking about Caitlin Clark?
Why when Asia was releasing a shoe were we talking about Caitlin?
Caitlin has brought in more endorsement agreements, more money, and made the WNBA one of the most watched sports. But players in the league are still displaying jealousy, which is why she must quit. Let's examine a game in which Caitlin Clark is not present.
Now commonplace where she'll go for 26 and 12. I mean, those are great numbers for any player, no matter how long you've been in the league. She's learned how to play the game, and she said, I had to learn how to play the WNBA.
Even though there were no WNBA fans watching before Caitlin arrived, Asia still feels like the star. It's hoped that Caitlin will relocate overseas and demonstrate to players like Asia Wilson what life will be like without her. She ought to be the highest paid player.
You guys take a look at the stands. All the seats, even the courtside seats, are empty.
The possibility that Caitlin Clark may sign a deal with the European Basketball League has shocked everyone. NBA Europe has long been regarded as a haven for elite athletes in a variety of sports, with competitive leagues providing Caitlin with handsome contracts and attention across the globe. Playing in Europe has substantial financial benefits, with salaries frequently surpassing those of the WNBA. Europe offers a chance to maintain its high level of dominance in the game while securing a financial future.
4. Moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. I'm not finished. Attendance for the entire league is up nearly 50% this year, and Indiana leads all teams with an average attendance of 17,035, up 319% from a year ago.
Asia Wilson, who has been a powerful force in the women's NBA for years, has made it obvious how she feels about Caitlin Clark's Europe contract. Her displeasure stems from the fact that Caitlin might make more money elsewhere. Not only is financial security important, but being the highest paid player also brings recognition.
There's a mindset that Asia has to adopt to justify getting treatment she knows she doesn't deserve.
In the world of professional sports, a player's salary is generally correlated with their value. Therefore, Asia's shift in earning potential could jeopardize her position as one of the league's best players. The most paid players are frequently seen as the most valuable, both on and off the court. Asia, who has devoted countless hours to developing her brand and securing her spot in the WNBA, must now deal with the unsettling possibility that Caitlin's rising star may surpass her own. For someone who has served as the league's face for years, this is a tough pill to take.
From being one of the most loved teams in the WNBA to being riddled with so much drama this season. Asia Wilson was under fire last week for the privileged comment that she made to Kelsey Plum.
However, it goes beyond money. The fear that Caitlin would lose her position as the league's top player is another factor contributing to Asia's reaction to her contract with Europe. For years, Caitlin has been the name people think of when talking about women's basketball, but her quick rise has altered people's perceptions, and the idea that Caitlin could outperform her and take the spotlight abroad is a blow to Asia's sense of security and prominence in the sport. Being the face of the WNBA means more than just being a great player. It's about being the athlete who catches the public's attention, the one who increases viewership, and the one who represents the league internationally. Asia Wilson has been in this position for a while, but with Caitlin Clark's ascent, the two celebrities are now in intense rivalry.
Agree with it. I thought she would be unanimous. I mean, it's not even close because I said the most important person in the league is Caitlin Clark and should be a top 5, if not, it should have been a top 3 MVP candidate.
Being the best player isn't everything for Asia. She also needs to stay relevant in a scene that is changing quickly and where Caitlin Clark's name is starting to become synonymous with the direction of women's basketball. One of the most obvious distinctions between Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson is how their fans view them. There is a discernible gap between the two players as a result of Caitlin's rapid rise to fame and the fervent devotion of her supporters both on and off the court. She has a robust social media following. Despite her years of success, A'ja has not been able to garner the same degree of devoted following that Caitlin manages to command with ease.
She won't acknowledge her privilege. Caitlin Clark is the problem, when actually Caitlin Clark is the solution. She's the inspiration.
Why has Caitlin gained fans so quickly while AA finds it difficult to sustain the same level of admiration? In part, it's because fans are always drawn to the next big thing, and Caitlin's arrival into the WNBA has given the league a new narrative. While fans see A'ja, despite her consistent dominance, as a part of the league's past, Caitlin is seen as the sport's future.
You're supposed to be the MVP, and you only got one win out of that series. That's why I think, now I wonder if they had a 5-game series in the first round, there might be a possibility they may not win that series.
A'ja is frustrated by the lack of fan acknowledgement since she has worked hard to create her legacy and feels eclipsed by someone who has only recently started to make an impact. In a league where a player's fan base has the power to make or break their career, A'ja is worried that as Caitlin's army of supporters grows, her own fan base may dwindle, placing her in a less powerful position in the league and in the public eye. Winning MVGP should have cemented her as the WNBA's face, but instead she's watching as Caitlin takes center stage.
A'ja Wilson has a signature shoe and logo with Nike. No one's gonna buy her shoe, no one cares, but Nike's bending over backwards trying to please A'ja.
One of the most surprising aspects of Caitlin Clark's rise has been the league's apparent unwillingness to fully embrace her despite everything that she has done for the WNBA in terms of advocacy and viewership. She has encountered resistance from within the league, which is unexpected considering that Caitlin has not only raised awareness of women's basketball, but has also brought about significant changes like chartered jets for player travel. Why would the WNBA, a league that ought to be honoring its stars, treat Caitlin in this manner? Part of the explanation might be found in the nature of change. Caitlin is a symbol of a new generation of players who don't accept things as they are.
Even were so bad, they got the #1 pick. You gotta be bad to get the #1 pick. And she led them to their first 20-win season in almost a decade. She led them to the playoffs. I mean, the girl deserved the award.
Her candor some view her as a challenge to the status quo, and as a player who is shaking up the game too rapidly because of her speedy ascent to popularity and her willingness to advocate for better circumstances. But this resistance is also about power. Because of her increasing power, Caitlin can now make demands, which can be unsettling for people accustomed to controlling the narrative.
LeBron James had tennis shoes in his rookie year. He didn't have a fraction of the impact on the NBA that Caitlin Clark has had.
The unwillingness of the league to fully back Caitlin is a symbol of a larger conflict between keeping things in control and giving players a say. Caitlin Clark has given the WNBA much more than just her on-court performance. Before Caitlin's lobbying, the launch of chartered jets considerably improved the travel conditions for players, making one of her most noticeable effects on the league. WNBA players pushed for chartered jets because of their difficult travel schedules, which frequently left them exhausted and unable to perform at their best. Caitlin was able to make her teammates' surroundings more polished and welcoming, so they could concentrate on what they do best: play basketball.
Any of you were the very same ones that was pointing the finger and we don't want or need your support. So in theory, you're getting what you want and you should be happy for the lower rating. So be careful what you wish for.
However, Caitlin's accomplishments go beyond improved transportation circumstances. She has been a strong supporter of giving WNBA players a better overall experience, from equitable pay to better working conditions. Although she has faced opposition from some of her peers and the league itself, Caitlin's willingness to speak out on these issues has made her a leader within the organization. Despite this, her contributions have not been widely acknowledged, and rather than being praised for her efforts, Caitlin has endured criticism. Caitlin has become the target of criticism from certain players, such as A'ja Wilson. There is now a gulf between those who agree with Caitlyn's vision for the future and those who oppose the reforms she is pushing for. This is due to Caitlyn's persistent push for change.
Caitlin Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3, Kate Martin 4. We talked about this earlier in the season. I feel sad that Kate Martin also hasn't gotten as much playing time the second half of the season. I feel like she deserves more, or maybe she deserves a different team. How crazy would that be if she went to Indiana?
The effect on viewing is one of the WNBA's biggest worries. If Caitlin Clark decides to move to Europe, Caitlin has emerged as one of the WNBA's most popular players, drawing large crowds of fans who come to watch her play. Her dynamic style of basketball and ability to interact with fans personally have made her a major draw for the league. However, when she is not playing, viewers noticeably drop. If Caitlin were to leave the WNBA to play in Europe, the league would lose not only one of its best players, but also a sizable portion of its viewership. Caitlin has an unrivaled capacity to draw people, and her departure would leave a vacuum that would be challenging, if not impossible, for Phil to fill for a league that is still trying to expand its audience and raise its profile. Losing a player like Caitlin could have disastrous effects on the league as a whole, as well as on individual players like A'ja Wilson. With fewer fans attending games, sponsorship deals and endorsement opportunities would probably decline, which would have an impact on players' pay and their capacity to develop personal brands. A'ja, who has previously voiced her displeasure with Caitlyn's rising star, would be put in a more challenging scenario should Caitlyn go and take a sizable chunk of the viewership with her. Beyond the court and into the world of endorsements, A'ja Wilson is annoyed with Caitlin Clark, especially with Nike. Despite Caitlyn's increasing popularity, Nike has been slow to fully embrace her. While AA has received significant promotion from the brand, Caitlyn has been sidelined primarily because of the controversy surrounding her within the league. AA has worked hard to build her brand and secure her position as one of the company's top athletes.
The paying customer, the audience didn't feel that way. They did not give a damn about the WNBA. Is that fair to the ladies? No, it isn't fair. But they're the paying customer. You don't tell them what they want. They tell you what they want. And they really were not feeling the WNBA to the degree that they're feeling the WNBA now, obviously because of Caitlin Clark.
For athletes in Asia, sponsorships have a significant impact on their career, helping to shape their public image and giving them the financial resources to compete at the top levels. It's not just about the money. Nike's reluctance to fully support Caitlyn embodies the fine line that brands have to walk when it comes to promoting great talent and staying out of trouble.
I don't understand this. Many of these people, like A'ja, are so used to being able to dispense guilt upon others that when people don't comply, then it becomes something they can't even handle.
Even though Caitlin Clark has worked hard to improve the WNBA, she has encountered strong criticism from the league and some of her teammates. This criticism raises important questions about why Caitlin is viewed so negatively by the public. Although it may seem confusing, Clark has only ever served to increase viewership, improve player conditions, and support the league's future. For this reason, why does she face such hostility? For players like A'ja Wilson, who have been in the game longer and have worked hard to establish their reputations, this can lead to emotions of jealousy and dissatisfaction as many players spend years attempting to obtain the kind of recognition that Caitlyn has garnered in a short period of time. It can seem like Caitlyn's success poses a threat.
Expected of Caitlin Clark. She's supposed to be great. She's not the Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese is, because that's a surprise, which to me is wrong. Should LeBron not have won the Rookie of the Year because he was supposed to win it?
Caitlin Clark's deal provides her a fresh start away from the hatred she's received in the WNBA, making her probable relocation to Europe both a personal and league-wide turning moment. Europe offers her financial security and the opportunity to advance her career internationally, but her departure might have a big impact on the WNBA.
No, your product wasn't any good. It wasn't marketed properly. It just properly, appropriately, smartly, intelligently. And you didn't have a superstar. Now you got one. And instead of complaining about what you didn't have, you should be thankful for what you do have.
Losing Caitlyn would result in a decline in viewership and fan involvement, endangering the league's expansion. This choice might also tip the scales in favor of Europe as a new hotspot for elite players in women's basketball. The WNBA needs to make a decision on whether to change and enhance player conditions in order to retain future stars or to run the danger of losing more talent to chances abroad. If you liked it, please leave a like. Caitlyn's decision will set the tone for the WNBA's future, influencing the league's growth as well as the careers of its players. And subscribe more videos that are currently displayed.
Regardless of whatever noise has been out there. So when you show that you're able to perform in the face of adversity, to me, that is the true testament to greatness. And that's why we're looking at her and we're saying greatness is on the way.